In May 2013, the world learned the horrific details of Ariel Castro's crimes, which involved the abduction, imprisonment, and abuse of 3 young women in his Cleveland, Ohio home. For over a decade, Castro held these women, Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus, captive in chains, subjecting them to relentless physical, sexual, and psychological torture. Ariel Castro appeared to be an ordinary man. He worked as a bus driver and lived in a quiet neighborhood. However, hidden behind the walls of his dilapidated home was a secret life of unimaginable cruelty. Castro's first victim, Michelle Knight, was abducted in August 2002. She was 21 years old at the time and had been walking to a court appointment for a custody case involving her young son when she crossed paths with Castro, an acquaintance. He offered her a ride, but instead of taking her to the courthouse, he lured her into his house and locked her in a dark room. Days turned into months, and months into years, with no sign of rescue. In April 2003, Castro kidnapped his second victim, Amanda Berry. Berry, just 16 years old, was on her way home from work when Castro offered her a ride. Like Michelle, Amanda was taken to his house and imprisoned. A year later, in April 2004, Gina DeJesus, a friend of Castro's daughter, was the next to fall into his trap. All 3 women were chained in separate rooms, deprived of food, and subjected to daily beatings and sexual assaults. Over the years, Amanda Berry became pregnant and gave birth to a daughter, Jocelyn, who was fathered by Castro. Despite the horrific circumstances, the women developed a bond, supporting each other through the nightmare. They survived through small acts of rebellion, secret conversations, and the hope that one day they would be free. That hope became a reality in May 2013 when Amanda Berry managed to escape. Castro had become careless, leaving the front door of the house partially unlocked. Seizing the opportunity, Amanda screamed for help, drawing the attention of a neighbor who helped her break free. Her 911 call brought the police, who stormed the house and rescued Michelle and Gina. Ariel Castro was arrested and charged with kidnapping, rape, and aggravated murder for causing multiple miscarriages through his violent abuse. In court, he claimed he wasn't a monster, but his actions spoke otherwise. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 1,000 years. However, just a month after his sentencing, Castro was found dead in his prison cell, having taken his own life. The story of the Cleveland kidnappings is a reminder of the strength and resilience of the human spirit. Michelle, Amanda, and Gina endured unimaginable horrors, but they survived, and their bravery continues to inspire millions around the world. The Slender Man stabbing is one of the most disturbing examples of how the internet can blur the lines between reality and fantasy for vulnerable minds. On May 31st, 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, 2 12-year-old girls, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire, lured their friend Peyton Leutner into the woods under the guise of a playful game. What happened next would shock the nation. Morgan and Anissa had become obsessed with Slender Man, a fictional character from an online horror forum. Slender Man is depicted as a tall, faceless figure with long, tentacle-like arms who stalks and abducts children. The 2 girls, convinced that Slender Man was real, believed they needed to prove their loyalty to him by killing someone. They chose Peyton, who had been their friend for years. That morning, the 3 girls played hide-and-seek in the woods. As they were deep in the forest, Morgan and Anissa carried out their plan. Morgan, armed with a kitchen knife, stabbed Peyton 19 times while Anissa encouraged her. Despite the brutal attack, Peyton miraculously survived. She crawled out of the woods and was found by a passing cyclist who called for help. Peyton was rushed to the hospital, and though her injuries were severe, she managed to recover. Morgan and Anissa, after leaving Peyton for dead, wandered off into the woods, believing they would be taken by Slender Man to live in his mansion. They were found later that day, miles away, walking along the highway. When questioned by police, the girls confessed to the stabbing, calmly explaining their belief in Slender Man and their motivation for the attack. Both Morgan and Anissa were charged as adults due to the severity of their crime. Morgan, who had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, was sentenced to 40 years in a mental health institution, while Anissa received 25 years in a psychiatric facility. The case sparked a nationwide conversation about the impact of the internet on young, impressionable minds and the dangerous consequences of losing touch with reality. The Slender Man stabbing is a chilling reminder of how easily fantasy can become a deadly obsession. It also highlights the importance of mental health awareness, especially for young people who may be struggling to differentiate between what is real and what is imagined.